So this year, I reviewed, unboxed, and had proper hands-on time with 19 different smartphones, which actually sounds like a lot when I say it out loud, right? This included everything, like your absolute flagships like the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, all the way down to the entry-level Hisense devices and even feature button phones. And trust me, some of these phones stood out and they definitely deserved some kind of recognition. So let's do this properly. Welcome to my South African Smartphone Awards. What's up guys, it's Alexis from I'll Explain It, and on this channel I do tech reviews, and today is a special one because I'm doing awards. These awards are not based on spec sheets, marketing hype, or launch events. They're just purely based on my real world use, how these phones actually performed day to day for an average South African like me, and it includes me looking at factors like if it can handle my constant or frequent usage of social media, if it can handle durability tests and all that. So let's get into it. Also, before I start, important disclaimer, I'm only awarding phones that I actually used and had hands-on time with this year. So if you find that I did not include a phone you think deserves an award, then that's probably because I didn't use it. But still, let me know in the comments below what phone you think was a better contender for a specific category. All right, let's get into it. Starting off with our first category, the best feature / no nonsense phone. This is for people who just want to make calls, receive and send messages, has a long battery life, and has zero distractions. And when thinking of this category, there were two specific phones that stood out: the Mobicel S4 and the Citrus L05. But clearly, the Citrus L05 is the winner. This phone is awesome because it has a touch screen, it has an alphanumeric keypad, it has internet access, so you can download WhatsApp, use Uber, download TikTok and use it, and it's basically the perfect burner phone, or at least it's the phone that you can use if you need to maybe go to Small Street or go to FNB Stadium for some huge concert. It's simple, it's reliable, and it's effective. On to category number 2. The best entry-level smartphone. So this category is all about practicality and simplicity. This is the phone that you buy for maybe your granny who still wants to start on her Stockfell friends because her phone has a touchscreen, or even if you want to buy your little cousin who's in grade 5 and suddenly needs TikTok just to fit in. Basically, the phone has to be affordable, it has to be functional, and it should be able to handle basic tasks properly. So there were also two phones that were in the running for this: the Hisense U607 as well as the Hisense Infinity H72 Pro. And honestly, this one was very easy. The winner was the Hisense Infinity H72 Pro. Either way, Hisense was going to take it in this category, but the Infinity H72 Pro was a clear winner. The price difference says it all. The U607 costs around 400 Rand, whereas the H72 Pro was around 1,800 Rand. And it shows. Compared to the H72 Pro, the U607 is basically a feature phone with a touchscreen. But the Infinity 72 Pro actually feels very modern. It includes a big 6.7-inch display, 256 gigs of storage, and yes, that 256 gigs at this price point. It also has NFC, which is very rare in this pricing segment, and honestly, it also looks very good. It's a solid entry-level phone. No complaints here. Category number 3, the best value for money smartphone. Now this category was about maximum return on your investment. It's not about the phone just being cheap, but it also needs to give you good performance. It has to include decent cameras. It has to have a strong battery life and the features that make you feel like you're not getting robbed when you pay for the phone. I'm not gonna lie, this was the trickiest category for me because it's basically South Africa's mid-range market, and South Africa is full of these devices. And also the prices in this category constantly change because South Africa has a lot of mid-ranges that are out there at the moment. But I made a call. So I considered multiple devices. I looked at the Huawei Nova 13, I looked at the Honor X9C, I looked at the Tecno Spark 40 Pro, as well as the Tecno Pova 7 Pro. All of these were solid contenders for this category, but the winner has got to go to the Huawei Nova 13. And here's why. Remember, this is all about value for money, right? So when this phone launched earlier this year, it costed around 10,999 Rand. And even then, I still thought that was a good deal for that price point. But now, if you were to check any way to purchase this phone, it costs around 7,000, maybe 6.8, 6.9, but nothing more than 7,000 Rand. That's almost 4,000 off. And that really depends on where you shop. That's wild. That's crazy value for money, because you're getting the exact same phone with the same features, the same performance for almost a half the price, if my math is correct. The Huawei Nova 13 is definitely value for money. And if you want to see what I think about this phone and a full review, then you can click one of the cards above here. Now, category number 4, the best battery life. This award goes to the phone that just refuses to die. It's got a big battery, it maybe has fast charging, and you just never get any battery drainage anxiety. I considered a few devices for this category. I looked at the Vivo X200 Pro, I looked at the Tecno Pova 7 Pro, I looked at the Honor X9C. Even some entry-level devices did have solid battery and were good battery contenders. Now you'd think that this should automatically go to a flagship device, right? But mid-range phones actually try harder when it comes to battery. For example, the Tecno Pova 7 Pro has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, which is impressive, but it's still not the winner. The winner goes to the Vivo V60 Lite. This thing is a battery beast. The Vivo V60 Lite has a massive 6,500 milliamp hour battery. It has 90 watts fast charging and goes 0 to 100% in under an hour. To be exact, it's 52 minutes. It also has bypass charging for the gamers out there, and it doesn't just last long, it also charges ridiculously fast. The Vivo V60 Lite just has a solid battery. You never have any phone battery drainage anxiety with this one. Well, at least in my experience. Category number 5, the Future Forward Award. So this category isn't about perfection, it's about innovation. It's all about phones that tried something new. We looked at foldables this year, we looked at flip phones this year, we even had trifolds from Huawei as well as Samsung. We also looked at ultra slim designs. We also had phones that have screens on the back. This year was just crazy and peak innovation. It's unfortunate that I didn't get my hands on everything that I've mentioned, not even close. But I did have a few phones and some of them stood out to me. One in particular, I'm not ready for the flag and the pushback I'm about to get, but the iPhone Air. You know what, guys? Innovation is often controversial, and the iPhone Air really had everybody talking when it launched. The Air is super slim, it's surprisingly durable. Usually unbreakable phones look like they need to come with a helmet and a bulletproof vest because they're just so rugged, but not the iPhone Air. And people tested it, I had some hands-on time with it. It really is as durable as they say it is. It's slim, it's pretty, and still virtually indestructible. And whether you like it or not, ultra slim phones are really the next big trend. So that's why the iPhone Air wins the Future Forward Award. Moving on to my favorite category, the flagship of the year, aka the last number. This category is about no compromises. We're looking at the best camera, the best performance, the best experience, the biggest battery, and I was lucky enough to experience a few flagships this year. So we had the iPhone 17 Pro Max, we have the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, we even have the Vivo X200 Pro. And from my experience, the winner is hands down the Vivo X200 Pro. That phone, the battery is amazing. Durability, solid. The camera is the best camera in the game. I took this phone with me to the Thames concert earlier on in the year, and best footage I've ever taken out in a concert. And I've been to many concerts. I only have one complaint. The phone is heavy and the camera bump is massive. But that's because the phone has a huge battery and an insane camera system. So you'd expect that from a phone that is the last number. It's that massive quota. The Vivo X200 Pro is really the girl that it thinks it is. And now, The final category has to be the best all-round smartphone, the smartphone of the year. This is the phone that I'd recommend to most people. It's all about balance. I'm talking about strong performance. I'm talking about a reliable battery, a good camera, better than the average camera, and a price that doesn't really make you feel like you've broken the bank. It's not necessarily mid-range. I'd consider this category with phones that are in the upper mid-range section. There's a gap in the market, or an unbranded segment in the market. I'm going to call it the upper mid-range section, or we can also call it the flagship light segment. And that's basically the phone that I feel hits that sweet spot. It's like Goldilocks. It's just right. And there were a few phones in this category as well. I considered the Samsung Galaxy S25. I also considered the Tecno Pova 7 5G, as well as the iPhone 17, the base model. And honestly, that's exactly who I'm going to pick as the winner. The iPhone 17 base model really was the phone of the year this year. Apple finally stopped gatekeeping. They gave us 120 Hz ProMotion display, 250 gigs of base storage. They gave us the center stage camera on the front, as well as a lot of other features packed into the base model iPhone. I would recommend this to anyone who wants a new iPhone without breaking the bank. Well, the bank according to iPhone standards, because I still think 21K is still a bit crazy, but it's still a lot cheaper than all the flagships out there. Now the next category, I'll call this one the I don't know, needs more work award, or could do better. And this is the phone that just didn't meet expectations according to the hype. It's not necessarily the worst phone, but it's just struggling to find its place, and that goes to the iPhone 16e. Does anyone even remember the iPhone 16e? Does anyone even have it? I haven't met someone who actually owns the iPhone 16e, and that's why it wins this award, because I feel it's lost, man. And I don't want to call it a middle child, because the middle children I know are popping, but it's that phone that just doesn't have an identity, or was put together without really enough forethought. It just doesn't have its place in the market. So that's unfortunate for the iPhone 16e. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first ever South African Smartphone Awards from I'll Explain It. I had a lot of fun making this video. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, like this video, and share it. And I will see you in the next one.